and welcome to another episode of Sensational, the Seasoned Sister Soulcast. This is Jaiko, your seasoned sister. All right, I'm here with a group of wonderful women, some sisters of a certain age. They are 40 plus, and they are dynamic, beautiful, amazing women. And I just know that you are going to glean something from this conversation. So, this show is geared toward women 40 and over, but please, if you are a younger woman or a man of any age, definitely stay tuned because you are going to get some wisdom from these seasoned women. All right. Tonight, our topic is overcoming heartbreak. Now, heartbreak is something we don't like to talk about because we like to look strong. This is men and women, young and old. We like to be strong. I'm not going to let anybody do me like that. But as we seasoned sisters know, the longer you live, the more heartbreaks that you are going to experience. But it's not the fact that you want to avoid it. It's a part of life. But how do you get through it? How do you build the resilience to get over it? And we're going to hear from some lovely ladies who are going to share some of their experiences. And I'll get started. My first big heartbreak that I remember was a relationship, and I was in college, and I was just so smitten with this man, and we were going to be together forever. All right. I feel like I'm in church now. Anybody been like that? You were young and in love, and you just thought it was just going to be forever. And he cheated on me. And the betrayal and the pain of it all was so bad. I started missing class. I just wanted to be sad. I just didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do anything. And I even surprised myself at how upset I got about it because I'd always witnessed so many older women who just seemed they could shake things off, but I couldn't shake it off. And I thought something was wrong with me. So the way I really coped was I was already active in church. So I just dug into my scriptures and just read scriptures about how God loved me and how God accepted me, how God made me just the way that he wanted me to be. And it just made me feel loved and accepted because the betrayal made me feel unaccepted. So that's how I got through my first heartbreak. And of course, there were other issues that happened over the years, but that was a foundation for me. Because I went through that, I knew how to come back and pray and journal and had those certain songs that got me through. Those certain songs, I'd be playing some Kirk Franklin and I'd be in my Fred Hammond. You would have thought Fred Hammond was my pastor for a certain point in my life because Fred Hammond was getting me through. So I would play those songs and read those same scriptures. For me, it was Psalm 139. It would just get me through. So I want to hear how some of you ladies got through your heartbreaks. Who would like to share? Now, if you could raise your hand and I can acknowledge you, and please join me on screen. Now, we use aliases for privacy. So please, as you will, who would like to get started and talk about a heartbreak? All right, we have the one and only Lady B. Please unmute Lady B.
Hi, Jaiko. How are you today?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. This topic that you picked really is a topic of exploration for me. I just recently had a devastating, for me, breakup. And I realized at my age, at 66, there was a lot I need to learn. The
Mm.
buzzwords now in the mental health community seem to be trauma, seem to be attachment styles. And I didn't know anything about that because before this, I was never affected by it.
Wow.
So to get through my breakup, I've been diving into research. I've been learning about attachment styles, anxious, avoidant, secure. I've been learning about generational trauma. I've been learning how things that my mother learned from her mother and then
Mm.
I picked up from her have formed some of my emotional attachments. and the things I was looking for in a relationship. So,
That is
how I've been getting through this is educating myself. I learned about these new devices. Journaling was there. As you said, praying, saying, keeping your faith was there. But I've also gotten into a technique called tapping, which is a lot of the bodily and hugging yourself. All that, what is it? Tsunomic, I guess that's what it is. Tsunomic trauma healing.
somatic, maybe.
Yes, thank you. And
Yes.
I've found comfort in that. I've taken up running. I've taken up making myself healthy. So that the one thing I can say is, even though I will not feel that this breakup was a good thing, I now understand what he meant when he said, I love you, but I love me more. So I was able to understand through my education, through my resources, through my diving in and breaking through some of my own, I don't want to say stubbornness, that I didn't love me more. And so I've
Wow.
been getting through this now, saying it's never too late to start loving me and knowing that I'm making through this because I am definitely becoming a better person.
Wow. Thank you so much. Boy, that is so much to unpack. That was a master class. She broke down attachment styles and everything, generational trauma. And these things really do shape us, don't they, Lady B?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And like I said, we're talking about the generational. I always felt that I came from a two-parent family. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. They were involved. But then I'm learning that the little things that did happen, how I formed some of the things that I needed for love and
Mm.
what I was attached to. So I dived into my education, and it's definitely helped me get through this.
And this goes to show that everything can be in place and everything can look right. You could have all of the right circumstances and conditions, but none of us are exempt from this journey of learning to love ourselves and learning to accept ourselves. That's so powerful. That is just so powerful how you're able to bring that out. I do have one follow-up question though. You said you're 66
66, yes.
and running. Good for you, first of all. I'm just getting up to a trot and then I have to back on down again. But, so congratulations on that and just all the things that you've done for yourself. I just really want to just celebrate you for that. You said that there was, at 66, this was the first one that really impacted you a certain way. I don't want to say it wrong, but this was the
Yes.
first one.
And so what I'm learning is, like I said, in my learning, in this trauma bond, there were things that I was craving from a love relationship. For example, one thing I found out, I never even realized this, and I did breath work. I don't know if you're aware what breath work is.
Yes.
What came out was the fact in my entire life, my father never said, I love you.
Mm,
And I craved somebody who said it to me first.
mm,
And although I was married before, I said it to my husband first, where this was the first relationship that I was in that this gentleman said to me, I love you. I think my bond was, oh my gosh, that's my male figure.
yes.
And I attached to that. I think that was a big piece of it. I attached to the fact that I always I'm a people pleaser. And so I always liked it when I was able to do things for people and they truly appreciated it. And
Yes.
this was the first person who showed me the appreciation in the ways that I needed it. And none of my other relationships, they'd say, oh, yeah, thank you, or whatever. But it was just the way that he would talk with me. So a lot of the things that he did hit some of those trauma pieces of what I was craving for growing up.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we just appreciate even just how beautifully you can articulate all of these things. And you just hit on so many things, but I don't want to take up too much time with me talking. I want to hear from the ladies. But I may wrap around back to some things that you said. Thank you so much, Lady B.
You're welcome.
Wow. That was just really, that was just really impactful. Okay, let's go up here to Sister Girl. Sister Girl, yes, you may unmute.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. I did want to, as Lady B was speaking, it because so many things have changed in my life. I've become so much more aware of the things of my expectations and the things that I desire, the things that I crave. But as she was speaking, um, it just brought to mind how we all, as we grow older, as we mature, not grow older, as we mature, as we become more seasoned, our awareness changes. And because of our awareness of ourselves and of the people around us, we're going deeper and deeper in our understanding. We do become a lot more, we have a lot greater revelation about ourselves, and we become stronger in embracing those things that we need and standing up to what our reality actually is. I too feel like I have been a people pleaser. Now, there are many people in my life who would disagree that I am a people pleaser, but when it comes into relationships, I tend not to want to be at odds with anyone who I really really care about. So then I do put my feelings. I do put a lot of things that need to be said. I'll put them on the back burner because I don't desire the conflict. And I did realize that, but I only began to realize it as I became older, and I've had a lot of losses and a lot of things in my life have changed. So the one thing that's important as we become more and more seasoned is that we do accept what we see that our changes are, embrace them, and just allow other people to just have to deal with our changes. I'm not saying that we should throw anybody off of off of the boat or anything like that, but sometimes people need to move. Sometimes situations do have to change. But that did come to my mind a lot as Lady B was speaking, and I do appreciate her candor as she spoke. But allow me to say a vicarious heartbreak that I had was when my daughter had her heart broken for the first time. Me watching her go through the devastation and having to have to come to the place where she understood that I have to let this person go. And she was mature enough to let the person go. As I sat there and I watched her do something that I did not think that she was mature enough in her own age to actually operate and do, it broke my heart that she would be crying like every other night, and she wanted to talk about it every other night. And I wanted, because I was her mom, because I am her mom, I wanted to take the magic wand and and just make it disappear. Outside of the fact that I really wanted to go to him and just choke him straight out. But nevertheless, my heart broke because I heard all that she was saying, in the situation, his infidelity, and but how much she craved what it is that he brought into her life. He was adventurous. He liked to travel. He liked to do different things, and that thing that she liked. And so, but still, nevertheless, she realized, and I was so proud of her, that that she had to let him go because he wasn't um, he wasn't good for her.
Mhm.
And so she let him go, but it broke her heart to let him go. But in the middle of her releasing it, it broke my heart because she was so broken. over this situation. And then, of course, moms, dads, or whatever, you all know that you are supposed to be the protector, and you're supposed to be able to fix everything. And it's devastating when you can't. So, but I did realize a lot of things about myself, even in that situation, is that I wanted to protect her, and I wanted to and I wanted to lash out. I know that she didn't want me to, because she still cared for him, even though she didn't want to be with him. But I know she didn't want me to to let him know how much I knew, and that I would be
Yeah.
pushing him off, because I did like the young man. So, but I did learn how to quiet myself and let her. I had to learn how to let her grow through her own situation, even as I was watching her just be devastated. It's been maybe about, wait a minute, how long has it been? Um, Maybe 6, 8 months, and but it still hurts her. But she's getting better, every day. And so what we do to actually help her to get through it, when your heart is broken, I believe you're supposed to push into it and deal with it, talk about it, say what's hurting, say what the issue is, say how you feel about the whole thing, even as you go on your roller coaster of emotions. Be able to find somebody who you trust enough, who will ride that roller coaster ride with you. So say it. You don't have to have a big, bold, strong face all the time in front of everybody. Find a person who you
Yeah.
can cry with. Find the person who you can go all the way down and just lay on the floor and roll around if you need to. Find that person, that safe place to deal with, and then deal with it, and then allow yourself to grow through it, and then do it at your own pace, at your own schedule. Nobody should ever say to you, "You're not over this now." We all have to recover at our own pace and in our own time and in our own way, but we don't want to wallow too long. But
So
yeah.
you said some really, well, I all of it's important, but wow, first of all, the fact that a lot of what we can go through is vicarious. That is so important to
Mm-hmm.
understand, and we have to be careful about it because sometimes we could be carrying it stronger than the person, and we're still
Right.
angry and they're moving on, whoo, whistling, and we're like, where is he? We're losing sleep, blood pressure all high, and that
Right.
person has moved on. So it's really we have to be careful about that. But something else that you said that
Mm-hmm.
would like to highlight is the fact that these things take time. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
we may have been a part of a breakup and we see somebody else just moved on. And we're still like,
Yeah.
we're still like, I don't care. She ain't even cute. See, I don't care. We're going through all that stuff. But truly, But truly, it does take time. We don't just have a situation where what we magically get over somebody that we deeply loved or somebody who really provided an emotional need, as Lady B said, and as you discussed with your daughter who brought that part out of her, that adventurer and things like that. That is really a mourning. And
Yes, it is.
it can also be a trauma, as Lady B said. It
Mm-hmm.
hurts to get that news that somebody that someone has cheated on you, or that person to say to you, "This is what I did," and it's like that, that glass house just crumbling around you
Mm-hmm.
when that
Yep.
person had such a special place in your heart. So it
Yeah.
really can be traumatic. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's important that we understand, as you're saying, to give yourself time. Give yourself time. Don't be surprised, that it may be some months later and you're still upset.
Mm-hmm.
You still feel away
Yep.
when you see the person, or you see, we used to go over here.
Yep.
That used to
Yep.
happen to me. Oh, going over 395. We used to go to the park. We used to get, you know, and and you're reminded. It does take time. And
Yeah,
I think
it
we
does.
are taught in this culture pride a lot, like you're supposed to keep, you know, the game face on, but no, you may be hurting for a while. So I would say give yourself
Yeah.
grace and give other people grace. And sometimes you are like, I do not feel like hearing about this again. But that person may need that
Right, right.
time, right?
They
That's
need it.
real. That
Yep.
person may need that time. Wow,
Hmm.
thank you so much. That is something for you to be going through it with your daughter. That's got to be tough. You just want that to end, and there's nothing you could do. But as a parent, like what word would you give to other parents who may be going through this? And we know some parents intervene, they throw themselves all up
Oh, yes,
in
sir. Yes, indeed.
situations.
Yeah. You know what? I would really say be very aware of what your child needs. Focus on your child. Focus on what it is that they're going through and help them to go through that. My daughter and I are both women of faith. So we pray about it. She has gone seriously into the word to try to cover herself, and she'll talk about the word more often. So she's digging in deeper into her faith, and she knows that we're both of faith. So that's what we do. We talk from a position of faith. We find the common thing. That's what we do. We deal with it. But I would always encourage the parent, don't overstep. Make sure you're walking in step with your child as they're going through this emotional turmoil that they're going through, because we could be overstepping and causing more harm than good.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mhm.
We appreciate you. Would anybody else like to share at this time about a heartbreak? It just reminds me there was something else that you said that I wanted to highlight, but I may come back to that. So as we're waiting, and please feel free to just raise your hand if you want to chime in. I found myself, this is back to Lady B's point, choosing relationships by what I was missing. But I didn't realize it until I got more mature and looked back. It was like, okay, I like this person because I felt like I missed out on A and B. This person did A and B, and I was so attached because of A and B. But then it's like, no. I need somebody who's gonna give me C and D. Okay, all right, C and D, here we come. And it's like, okay, now. All right, well, I guess I need E and F, you know. So these things that you look for in a person, but then I had to realize, no, I need to be shored up within myself. I need to recognize the areas that I need healing in and do what I need to do to heal. And I'm so happy that different things came up, prayer, EFT, tapping, because it all works if you ask me. And a lot of people say, oh, that's weird, or some things are physiological and it just has to do with our chemistry. So I would definitely say be open. And if you're a person who believes it's not congruent with your spiritual beliefs, pray about it, do your research. But there's definitely somatic work that can help. Okay, Angel from Atlanta, are you ready? Angel from Atlanta, a heartbreak.
A heartbreak. I have had a heartbreak. Yeah, okay. I did. Similar to, I think, Lady B. This was early on, well, in my early mid to late 40s. Um, I dated a guy, and like I think someone else said that this was somebody I thought, oh, this was like the most perfect guy. He was just great in all respects. Um, and I got over it. It took surprisingly, it took me a long time to get over because I never thought that I would actually find myself in that position. I like, similar to what we've said before, I pride myself on having some level of emotional maturity, and knowing who I am and being comfortable with who I am. But sometimes you can fall so head over heels that sometimes you forget who you are. Um, and I'm reminded by a song from Jill Scott. I don't know the name of it, but one part of the lyrics was like, you have managed to turn me into a woman of substance, to a woman of this downtown with flats on, or something to that. I'm not sure if you know what that is,
I know
but
what you're talking
essentially,
about.
yeah. So essentially, I don't believe in making a scene in public. I don't believe in calling somebody else, some other woman's number. I don't do any of that. I do believe in, you know, doing whatever I need to do in private with that person. But I found myself in that particular situation out of pocket, if you will, in a way, because I was like, I don't really care. It's like you have crossed the line, and I'm going toe to toe with you, toe to toe with you. But I would say, if I'm permitted, because even though that was a really, 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 really horrible breakup, it was still freaking beautiful. It was beautiful in the sense that I learned so much, I gained so much, and it just makes me. I learned stuff about myself in that breakup, and even in that relationship that I didn't know I needed, wanted, desired, even thought of. Um, so even though it wasn't like what I thought it was going to be, I look at it as still something perhaps that God wanted me to go through. Um, I look at it even as a blessing, even though it was truly, I mean, really, I could write a book how bad it was, and make a lot of money from it. But aside from that, it was still a beautiful story, because for me, that was the first time I had been in love, and so far the only time. But I learned so much about love and life, and enjoying life. Like in that relationship, I learned to smell the roses for the first time.
Mm.
Um, so in breakups and any kind of heartbreak, I think in that relationship, you got to go through it. You just got to go through it. And I tried really hard to try to force it, but it took me years to get through it. But as I said again, just looking at it, it's kind of bittersweet. I grew as a person. I smell the roses, and I still live my life with the desire to always smell the roses. So I don't have
Wow.
any regrets from it at all. Will I ever go back down that? Absolutely not. You couldn't pay me enough money to do that. But and it does make me cautious and conscious about when I hear and see things that appear to be very similar. I don't think I am as, I wouldn't say naive, but and I wouldn't say trusting, but I think I always have an eyebrow raised when I see certain things. That can be good or bad, but at the end of the day, I just look at that situation truly as a blessing. For the first time in my life, I start to smell the roses outside of my responsibility. It was just great. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it
The
makes
breakup
all the
itself
sense
was
in the world.
the breakup itself, and all that trans acted in that mess, because I call it mess and chaos. But despite that, the aftermath is like smelling the roses or a rainbow. It was truly um, transcending. I guess that's all I can say, because I have truly
Yeah.
become a better person. I've learned more. I know what I can tolerate, what I can't tolerate, what I will not tolerate, things I want to do. Just make me a better person overall. And I don't think I would have ever got to that point if I had not experienced what I experienced in that relationship.
Could
So,
you give us a bit of a clearer picture about what you mean by
oh
stopping
sure.
to smell the roses? How did you learn that? And so
So
what was the messy part and what was the rosy part? What were some of your experiences so some of our viewers may connect to what your experience actually was?
I'll preface this by saying I have obviously standards, right?
Absolutely.
But some of my deal breakers, I have three well, definitely three. You cannot lie to me. You cannot beat me, or put your hands on me in a bad way, and you cannot cheat. Any of those things is zero. I don't. There's no need for conversation. Okay. Um, However, I think this guy, he was. I guess he. Some people just skilled. That's all I can say. He was a skillful guy, but he understood what made me happy and smile. So I'm pretty much I can be a workaholic. I love working. And before I met him, I was always working, right? And one thing and I always liked the idea of traveling. And so with this guy, we travel all the time. And not only did we travel, but we traveled on his dime, and we didn't just go to certain place, like the neighboring town. We traveled. We traveled out the country. We traveled domestically, and even if we were in the city, we would do staycation. The first time I did a staycation was with this particular guy, and we would do some fancy hotels, nice hotels, to the extent that I decorated my house like a hotel because I didn't, you know, I was a workaholic trying to take care of my child and create some kind of some history or something.
Right.
But going to these different countries and traveling, and this man giving me the idea that all the thing I had to do was ask, and he gave it to me. Like I truly felt like the luckiest woman in the world, even though he was making other people feel that way too. He was making other women feel lucky. But just the idea, like the for me as a single parent, I was concerned about finances. I was I did well financially, but I was still very much on a very frugal side. But he took care of every expense. We would go out to dinner, and it can be myself and the family, and he would pay for everybody. It can be three, four, $500, and would be nothing. You want a bottle of champagne? We get a bottle of champagne. He's doing that not one or two times. Every time we go out, um, anything I could ask for, this man would give it to me. And again, he was doing that with other women. So that was magical to me because I never expected that from anyone. When I would travel, I'm generally the one in charge of the travel. I'm generally the one that have to, plan it and at least pay some part. But he took care of all this for me. Even if going to hotels, he knew what I liked. We go out. Oh, I love experiencing different cultures. So we would experience different cultures together. Go to different restaurants. We would dance all night. We would go on different like we had. I never believe in doing this, but I did. I purchased some assets with this guy, which I should not have done, but hey, I was in love, so I don't beat myself over that. But we purchased assets together, acting as if we are truly in this partnership, which I would tell any woman who is not married or you don't have a serious. I thought I had a commitment. I just would not. um I would not encourage anybody to purchase assets of any nature with someone unless you have some type of guarantee. But either way, we buying like real serious asset. That's some real stuff that has some real money. But I never thought about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It was like a different lifestyle. Um, and it's a lifestyle that I didn't mind living, but it wasn't something I necessarily needed. And when I started living, I was like, oh my God, there was one time we were going like some holiday. And for this holiday, I normally go and do the same thing for this particular holiday. And this time he said, hey, you want to go out of town? And I was like, sure. I'm not going to tell you where we're going. I'm going to take everything. And I'm going to the airport, have no idea where we're going. I was for New Year's Eve and Christmas. One time I was in another country. Um, it was, like I said, it was magical. And I never desired thought. It just was not something I thought of. And the fact that those things happen. Maybe he knew that this would excite me, which probably is why he felt so okay with doing what he did. And also because of that, it's possible that that's why I stayed in it so long, you know. But irrespective of it, I mean, like I think I stayed in it too long, but I don't really have any regrets. I don't. Um, I mean, if I can do over again, I would have. I didn't realize I could block my phone number from him or block him, but if I could do that over, I would block them. But outside of that, man, like I said, it was just, it changed my life for the best. It truly, truly did. So,
So,
and
I
and
mean, you have said a lot. So, I mean, and I hope everyone is catching. Do not buy assets with a person unless there's a guarantee.
for
Thank you
sure,
for that wisdom. And we're also hearing how, once again, we're hearing needs being provided. You're a person, you're a single mom working, making ends meet. Hey, I'm going to take you away from your work and I'm going to foot the bill. Like these needs are being met, but at the same time, I'm hearing the common theme of all this good treatment is something that can make you stay longer, miss the person, make it harder to make a personal decision for yourself. And this is what I'm hearing across the board, not just from you, Angel, but these are things that we want to keep in mind as Sister Girl said about her daughter. We have to think about what's best for us. Even though some things are good to us, healing, providing for needs that, unmet needs and helping us to discover ourselves. And I love Angel of Atlanta from Atlanta, how you're looking at the beauty of it. And I just invite more people to do that same thing. Look at the beauty of it. You now stop and smell the roses. A heartbreak was a rough payment for that, but now you have more value of life. And the thing is that some of us just become bitter and hateful. And that's detracting from our lives. That's detracting from our energies, detracting from our faith, from our love of self. And we're pouring all this bitterness, just into our lives and processing it and reprocessing it. So I appreciate and just celebrate how you have made this something you're saying, I'm not going to regret. I am better for it. I'm different for it. Now, and like you said, you now stop and smell the roses. It's not work, work, work. And you have a better life and you still made a decision for yourself not to take any kind of treatment. That's so we just celebrate you for that. Thank you so much. Wow. We have a few others who would like to take that. We're talking about heartbreak. We're talking about heartbreak. And there's something else I want to get to with that, but I want to let other people have a chance first. Let's see. Are there hands raised? Or if not, you can just unmute if I don't see you. Doo-doo-doo. Something sweet. Do you have something sweet to say?
I've been over here debating on whether or not I was going to raise my hand, but since you called my name, I guess I should just go ahead and talk about this. Although, whoo, it's still very heavy for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, um, it's one of those betrayals that every woman, at least for me, I thought I was smart enough to spot red flags. I thought I was savvy enough. I've been around the block a few times. So when the offense occurred, and it was a major offense, one that literally broke me to the point where I could not function.
Mm.
The type of work that I do, I create content for universities and corporate America, and I couldn't do my job because my mind has to be in a creative space, and I
Right.
couldn't even form a sentence during that period in my life. And I I was again debating on whether or not I was gonna start talking about this, because even though it's been some years since the offense occurred, um, every now and I don't hurt like I used to, right? But every now and then something will pop up and press against the scar, and I'll feel some tension and some pain remembering that period in my life. But you know, now it's, how can I say? I like I said, I used to think I'm savvy, I'm smart, I can see the red flags. Now, not so much. You
Mm.
know, like some folks on the call that stated, I'm a little more cautious, I'm a little more reserved when it comes to that. I'm keeping my eyes peeled, but not to the point where I'm looking for something wrong or expecting for something to go wrong, or for this next guy to be a liar and a cheater, to have a whole family tucked off to the side after you've, wanted to marry me. And, and I didn't see the red flags. That's how horrible all of this was. And also embarrassing, because
Mm.
me being an intelligent woman, you know, several degrees and accolades and all the things, right? How
Mhm.
did I not see the red flags?
How
So
many of us have felt that? Okay,
yeah,
let's give a little hand. Come on, give a little hand raise if you're in the room and you're like, wait a minute, I'm smart. I'm me.
Well, they do say love is blind, and it really is.
yeah,
It
Yeah,
really is. Yeah.
yeah,
it gets all of us. It gets all of us. So just wanted to, whew, yes, amen. Amen.
yeah.
Love is blind, it's crippled, and it's crazy.
But like the sister said earlier,
This
I thank God for the experience, because it's brought me into another place
Mm,
where if it had not have happened, I don't think I would be who I am and where I am today. So in
mm,
that aspect, I do have to say, God, I thank you. I do believe in all things. In all things, you should give thanks. And in
yeah,
all things, there is a lesson if you can get past the hurt and the pain and grow from the experience, and not become bitter and not become paranoid, but actually become better because of it. So I actually thank God for the experience, even though every now and then it still hurts like crazy. But I do see my growth from it all.
Sometimes, okay, are you finished? Are you
I'm
still?
done.
I'm sorry, I
I'm
want
done.
to ask one question real quick, but don't forget your question, military mom. Don't forget your question. So, what are some of the things that you did to overcome? And I think your picture is perfect for tonight. Just how did you get to be this baddie in the cape? You know what? How did you get through this heartbreak and become the person you are? You said it helped you become, but can you tell us a bit about that process?
So in the beginning, just like any and everybody else, it's you just got to cry it out in the beginning, right? You're gonna have all the whole range of emotions. I went from sobbing, crying, to literally on my way to his house, about to beat the windows out of his Bentley. I mean, for real, just the whole 9 yards. There was such a range of emotion,
Yes.
but eventually, just taking it day by day, like the sister said, meditating, breath work. I did do tapping for a while. For me, I'm a visualizer, so I had to, with my tears running down my face, try to imagine me someplace else in a better space. And then there were days when I just had to allow my mind to, I'm just not well today, and I just have to accept that, right? I'm that girl that's always got to have it together, always got to, it's got to be, stacked and lined and organized and together. I'm just not, it's just not there today.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so having to accept myself for where I was and on any given day, be it high or low. Um, and I think that's the piece right there that got me through, learning how to accept me, every part of me, the broken part, the smart part, the
Yeah.
blind part, the yes, I want to be loved part, all the parts. And when I began to just accept me, it started to get better.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much. That is so beautiful. And I can really share that. I have shared that feeling. Like, I'm so embarrassed that this happened to me. I'm embarrassed that I didn't see this. I mean, there were so many things I wrote down. I'm like, boy, cry it out. I'm a big believer in it. Sometimes you feel like you're gonna lose control, like this is getting ugly. Ah! But sometimes you just have to hug that pillow, get by yourself and do what you have to do. And I love how you gave yourself grace. Like, I'm not 100% today. I'm not
Yeah.
the T's are not gonna be crossed, the I's may not be dotted, but and I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm gonna be
Mm.
okay with that. I don't have to be perfect. But of course, I think you're perfect. I think you all are just so amazing. And I just really hope people are hearing the wisdom and experience, because once you know the path, you can take it. It's still going to hurt. You're still going to cry. You're still going to feel embarrassed. You're still going to say, I miss what that person brought to my life. You're still going to have to do it. But you all are just really laying out what needs to be done. And I know I'm being so blessed by it. I heard it was Military Mama who was ready to chime in. You ready, Military Mama?
Yeah. I was just gonna say the way that I actually got over my heartache is that I was listening. I like to listen to a lot of old music. And it was this one song that I used to play all the time. And you guys may know it. Everybody Plays a Fool. And that song, it was one verse in that song which really kept me sane because it how did it went how can you help it when the music starts to play and your ability to reason has swept away?
Whew.
And that kept me grounded. It really did. Because when you think about it, you really can lose it. You could actually lose it. When someone has really hurt you so deeply like that. And I used to play that song all the time. Yeah, and that's what helped me. That song helped me through a lot of rough days when sometimes I never thought it was such a thing as that you could hurt so much till you can't even cry. I couldn't even cry. I was so mad. I was so hurt. I couldn't even cry. All I thought was, okay, revenge, revenge. That's where my mind was. And then I just, I was like, now, wait a minute now, girl. You got some children here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You really have to kind of like I had to talk myself out of doing some stuff that just wasn't right. But thank God, that was years ago and I've grown now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you could sometimes stuff, it can definitely take you there. I experienced that myself. It could definitely take you there. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up that song, because I think
Hmm.
that is science, spirit, and everything. Everybody
Yeah.
plays the fool, no exception to the rule.
And right. And what about that part? How can you help when music play and it builds you the reason swept away? Oh, heaven and earth is all you see. You're out of touch with reality.
Mm,
I'm telling you. And I think at some point I probably was.
no
Yeah, because
doubt.
when you start to think about what you could do to actually ruin someone's life just because they hurt you, you out of touch with reality at that point in time. you know. And that song helped me. That song really did. Yeah, I would never think about doing anything, you know, to anyone now, of course, but yeah, thank God that was years ago. And I was still grounded and rooted enough to not do it,
Yes,
still grounded and
yes.
rooted enough to not do it. Yeah, yeah, because it was something. Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you said that. Rooted and
Hmm.
grounded enough not to do things. We hear stuff in the news, and we see what women are doing, and we all know the classic Bernadine scene where she's burning up
Hmm.
his car and things. And we see these things happen, and I don't judge it anymore. I don't think it's good to do, But
Mhm.
sometimes I think people underestimate the amount of pain, trauma, and crisis they're causing in somebody's life by just doing
Mhm.
them. They may be thinking that, well, whatever they're thinking, but they're making the choices, but they're really causing a high level of pain in somebody's life. So when you think about a situation like that in the movie, what was it? Waiting to Exhale, where, she put her life into his business and trusted him and laid everything down for him, and she was betrayed. And you just see the snap. I mean, there's a whole show about it. So I'm just so grateful that we all here have the wherewithal to, first of all, as you said, are grounded enough. No, we have to process this and heal from it. And one thing that I noticed is that when I met my husband, I'm laughing because I was like, "Why are you holding your phone like that? Why you keep going to the bathroom?" He's like, "What is wrong with you?" And then I realized it. And I don't know if it's a thing or not. I said, I have post-traumatic relationship syndrome. So there's so many things that have happened. I'm like, I'm on edge. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And I'm on these
Mhm.
these investigative missions and things, and I'm like, oh, that's his coworker. Oh, that's his prayer group calling. I'm like,
And look, and you know what I hate when when a man turns his phone down. I don't like that. Why do you
mhm.
have your phone, the face of your phone down? No, I'm. I know to look out for that now. Yeah, because you don't want anyone to see who's calling or whatever. Why is your phone turned down? Your face is turned down. But
But then the
just the
person
little
could. Some
things.
people may say, "I turned my phone down because I didn't want to be rude. I want you to know that you have my undivided attention."
No, I don't mean
So
turn the
you,
volume down. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I
face the
didn't.
phone down, like facing it
Yeah.
down. But
Mhm.
because of experience, we might be thinking, see, But at the same
Mhm.
time, in that person's mind, they could be like, let me put this phone down and flip it over so she knows she has my attention. You see, so a lot of times, how do we know? And this will bring me into my next, and I see there's two people with hands up. How do we know that we're healed to the point where we are ready to give ourselves to someone and not bring all of that,
Mhm.
and so let's think about that as I take these. Thank you so much for your wonderful contribution, military mama. I'm gonna go to uh Angel and then Sister Girl. Angel, please unmute.
Can you hear me?
I can.
So I want to add about being grounded. Um, it's the whole idea for me, and that heartbreak I was telling you about, because I was grounded. That was the whole point of me. Like, I didn't want to be that type of woman that's going through his phone, because even in, and I'll still stand by this, even in heartbreak, I still see myself as a woman of substance. I still see myself as, I hate to say it, but it's kind of corny, but a classy lady. At the end of the day, like, I can say and speak a certain way, and I can behave in many ways. I can do well at a football game and do well at a gala, or at a dog fight and do well at some other fancy place. But at the core, who I am still a lady, and a lady with class. But it is because of that grounding. I had too much to lose, is what kept me from taking certain steps that might land me behind bars or some other place that would not be what I wanted. And like I said, I mean, it's a blessing. But I want to. You had posed a question. Can you ask that question again? Because I actually
Oh, when I
forgot it.
said, are you healed enough?
Oh, how do you know that you're healed?
How do you know that you're healed, or do you know that you're healed enough to move forward without bringing all of these things to the next person?
So I think for me, if you are able to look at that situation, for me, and look at it in bittersweet, which is like, Yeah, you broke my heart. Well, he broke my heart. It hurt me to the core. But I'm still good because I can smile at, I can laugh at, I can look at it and don't see all the bad things. And if I'm in another relationship and I see certain things, I can observe. And like one person mentioned, the phone is turned over. So I'm like, I think it was military mom that said, if your phone is turned over, I'm going to look at it with an eyebrow. I just keep watching. I learned to be more observant. Um, and I don't jump to conclusion right away, but I would still be like, okay, I would ask the questions. Like for me, because that was something that was problematic, I will ask, okay, I need you to turn that phone over. It's not that I'm comparing with anybody else, but I know what makes me comfortable. And I am not comfortable with that. But I think in terms of knowing that for your heal is truly when you can look at how this man tried to break you, then tear you to pieces, and you can look back at there and smile and say, thank you for the hell you put me through. I am now walking through the gardens of rose gardens or whatever. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but that's truly how I feel. Even though, years later, this man, every so often, he'll try to contact me or call my family, but I don't have no words for you. But it's just, I can see the beauty of what I gained from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I make it my business that this next man that I meet, you didn't do this from me, but I'm going to be smart enough to know that, he did something similar to that. I'm just going to watch and see what that looks like. And if it make me feel a certain way, then I'm gonna let you know that. And that's something that I didn't do until, years later. So
Wow, thank you for that. Okay, we're getting all these powerful keys now. Just let a person know what makes you comfortable, makes you uncomfortable. All right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And if they see your value, they will walk you through it. It's a small thing to ask for a classy woman. Okay. I just saw Sister Girl, your hand just went down.
Yes.
Did you
Oh
mean to
yeah,
do that?
yeah, I just cleared it. But
Oh,
but it I wanted to kind of liken some of these traumatic things in the relationships that we've experienced to a time when I was in a car accident.
mm,
I was coming home. It was late at night, and um, I was on North Capitol Street, and so I was coming down the street, and the light had changed, and so I began to proceed through the light. Well, a person came across, and they slammed into my car. I didn't see them. They totally blindsided me. I didn't see them. I spun around and I ended up on the other side of the street, actually heading in the other direction, such that people who were heading the same direction that I was heading, and they didn't even realize that it was me because it would have been impossible for me to be over there going in that direction. So I had gotten hit and spun around, and car was on fire, and it was a whole just
mm,
ridiculous scene. Um, and my leg was broken, and so it was a whole thing. But I will say from that incident, even today, literally on this day, today, as I was coming through a large intersection, I still slow down and just to see if anybody's out there tripping. I still do it to this day. And that had to be 19 years ago, maybe something like that,
wow.
because my daughter was young. She was very young. So it had to be. But and I can say today, when I was on my way home, I did the exact same thing because of what happened to me then. All of that simply to say is that everything that we go through, we learn. Every situation that we encounter, we ought to take some lessons from. I've been listening to what some of the ladies have said, and that's exactly what they said. They've learned, they've applied it to their lives. In these situations, what doesn't kill us, it will make us stronger. We're building, actually, I will call them faith muscles in everything that we go through. But I think that it is important that we do continue to learn. We continue to grow. We continue to be aware, and we still can continue to be cautious, but not to the place where it stops us from moving through the intersection. We still
Mm.
have to go. We still have to continue to travel, but we still have to be aware of everything that's going on around us. And then we have to understand other people's positions, because as we're coming to a situation with all of our luggage, all of our baggage, all of our encounters, there are other people who are coming with all of the stuff that they have encountered, and you all, and we're all trying to meet at this intersection, and just to see how we're going to make it through. So I just think that it's important that we learn, that we grow, that we pay attention, that we let everything be something that we learn from, but not something but not to the point where it stops us from moving forward.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Come on with the parallel. Come on with the metaphor. I love it. Thank you so much, sister girl. Does anybody else have any parting wisdom for a younger woman or a man who may be watching this particular episode? I know sister girl just brought it, but if there be another, we will take it. Okay, I don't see any more hands. Thank you so much, sister girl, for giving us that powerful closing. Yes, we have to be cautious when going to the intersection, but you know what? Keep on going. Keep on going to the intersection. And love is not for the faint of heart. You have to be brave. You have to be vulnerable, and you have to know, hey, yeah, there are some hazards out there, but if it weren't worth it, we wouldn't still be in the love business. Look at all these wonderful things that we've learned about ourselves and about life through these relationships. So I just wish you all the love, and I just pray that you all receive all the love that your beautiful hearts can take. I'm so grateful for all of you wonderful women for joining tonight and just speaking out and sharing your experiences and the wisdom it has given you and how it's enriched your lives. It is so wonderful that it's turned out like that. You just never know how these conversations will go. We're hearing how lives have been enriched and how you are even stronger and more amazing than you started out. If you are watching this, please share your experience in a safe way. Don't tell something that you don't need to tell. But in a very safe way, as you heard these lovely ladies speak today. Share your experience, respond to their experiences, and also just write in the comments what things that were your takeaways from the wisdom of these ladies. Thank you, my sisters of a certain age, for this evening. And once again, if you want to join us in our comments and also join us on our Facebook page, Soka, Sisters of a Certain Age. God bless you and keep on loving everyone.